message to them. Let them know who you are and why they should care.
I mean, I don't know if I have a good answer for that, but new member back here in the Outer Bay Lounge. Newer cigar smoker, learning a lot of knowledge from these guys, and making great friends and contacts, and just, living life, enjoying it back here with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a chance
And getting my ass kicked by Pops on the golf course. So,
Yeah, well, that happens to a lot of people. But I had a chance to meet your wife during the Derby. You definitely outkicked your coverage on that. She is blind and deaf, but I'll tell you what, really, really nice lady.
Thank you.
You did.
Thank you.
What's your
You
wife's
done
name?
good.
Sarah. Yeah, she's a nice lady.
Yeah, thank you.
And she had good ideas right away. She was awesome.
She did. And when Garrett would step out of the room, she's like, for a guy that grew up riding to school in a short bus, he's really turned out good.
She's put a lot of work in.
She's
put a lot of work in.
Yes.
This is the after, right?
Yeah,
here.
this is the after effect.
So what all are you smoking? You are smoking.
I got the principal from the Derby Day right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful cigar. You are going German on us.
Yeah, the no-name German engineered cigars.
No nom.
No, I don't know what it is, to be honest. If you're watching this, drop a comment, drop a like, hit that share button. Let's get this thing bumped up. We need your help a little bit this evening. I'm smoking something that I do not like at the beginning. I'm going to be honest.
That is, this is the old blind me strategy that we have here at ICC. We send one of our staff members into the humidor, tell them to pull the label off, and then we're going to guess what it is. And
I'm guessing this came out of the tester bin.
it might have came out of the tester bin. Speaking of the tester bins, I'm doing what we do, which is testing cigars, and this new brand has come walking in the door asking us to please buy their stuff, so we are going to test it, and I will let you know if they stand a snowball's chance in hell.
Oh, I do have a pro tip for people that are new to ICC, because I hadn't been in a lot of other cigar lounges. Don't be afraid to buy like a 5-pack that's in a plastic bag. They do not suck. They were actually really good cigars.
What did you-
I learned
you
that
bought-
from
what
the
did you
Whiskey
get?
Wednesday. The Whiskey Wednesday, the
Grand Habano.
Grand Habanos.
Oh.
They're awesome. They're
Did you
absolutely
get
awesome.
the one with the red label on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the red and blue label.
I threw a bag of those in my
up there,
golf
girls?
bag,
Yeah.
because that thing is really
They're
good.
great.
That's the
cigars.
oiliest, stickiest fly
It
trap.
literally looks like it was Armor All. That thing is, but it's not heavy. It's so nice. It's called the number 3, and I've ordered it as a regular part of our assortment. So, we got Goodner in. We got,
You're getting some style points from William Treadway right now.
from what perspective?
He said he likes that style. I'm sure it's that Guayabera you got rocking
Yeah,
over there.
it's fancy.
It is fancy.
Yeah,
Looks good on you though.
that's the word on the street.
So you're relatively new to cigars overall. Is that right?
I mean, like, short of just smoking cigars on vacation, I'm probably like 2.5 years in on like regularly smoking cigars.
Oh, but so you're in it.
Yeah,
You're
just vacations though. Like, I mean, I was stuck to the
Special occasion.
Monte
anything?
Cristos and stuff like that, and the cohibas that you would find on vacation that everybody would be like, oh, you have to smoke a cigar, like, or golf with clients, which that really wasn't a good cigar experience most of the time because most people haven't smoked good cigars. I kind of learned.
Yeah,
Along the way.
most of the world hasn't actually gotten into really, really good cigars.
No, it's just all the common stuff you see, or because Whiskey Advocate or Cigar Aficionado tells you this is a really good stick. I've smoked way better stuff here. Like, this is the first lounge I'd ever been in when I lived over here. Actually, I think I was kind of split the middle now, but yeah, this is the first one I'd ever been in. And then it took me going to Ohio last year and trying to find a cigar lounge and then just that experience and going into others, and half the cigar stores I walked into, I didn't even realize they had a lounge. And then when you go in the lounge, it's like, wow, this is like smoking in the back of a bowling alley. It's terrible.
In comparison, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But it's been great. I mean, I get to drop a little whiskey knowledge with the Whiskey Wednesday group, which if any of y'all want to be a part of, we've been doing some awesome stuff like every third Wednesday. it's really good. And these guys give away free sticks that do not suck. So
Without a doubt.
$20 and you get some pretty awesome bourbons, cigars, good camaraderie, learn
That's
a little
it.
bit.
Is that the same as the bourbon?
Yeah, Bourbon Society, Whiskey Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think having, we were just talking about, you're just a massive value add to not only just the culture of the shop, but just as a good old fashioned bullshitter.
Thank you.
You know, I think that every single person needs to have a good old fashioned bullshitter in the crew. I'm just proud to call you ours.
Well, thank you. I was a little worried I bullshitted a little too much. It might have held me back from getting to hang out with everybody. I seem to gravitate to some of the motley crew right out the gate. You know,
Well, okay,
guilt
so
by association up here.
we're talking about some cigars here, okay, and
Do you
we've
see
already.
Josh's note?
That's exactly where I'm getting to. It's like, okay, buying cigars. Question is, where do you buy cigars from? Where do you buy good cigars from? And there is this. I think it's a responsibility that we have to identify how Cigar Bid works and how mainstream sampler programs work. Are you familiar with Cigar Bid?
I've heard about it. I'm not really.
It's, you go in there and it's like walking into like a biannual sale at Costco. It's like,
Okay.
holy shit, I get all of this for this much money?
I am
It's a great idea.
robbing the chicken, stealing the chickens out of the hen house.
Let's just go ahead. Okay, Pops, tell us exactly how does Cigar Bid work?
So Cigar Bid, in the cigar industry, there are brands that I could refer to as big box, big volume companies. That's Cohiba, that's CAO, that's Monte Cristo, that's Romeo, that's Macanudo, that's all these big brands. There are two companies that are conglomerates. One is called Altadis, one is called General Cigars. General Cigars has Cohiba and a bunch of others. So General Cigars is owned by a Scandinavian company. That Scandinavian company owns General. General Cigars owns Cigar International, and General Cigars owns CigarInternational.com, plus their stores, plus Famous Cigars, Famous Smoke, plus Cigar Bid. So what Cigar Bid is used for is to take their, usually it's Cohiba red dots that you see, red labels, you see a ton of those at what you think you're stealing. But the simple fact of the matter is the stuff that funnels through Cigar Bid, and this is an in general comment, because every once in a while they'll filter something else in.
Sure.
But what Cigar Bid does is what General Cigars is using Cigar Bid for is to get rid of the stuff that's not selling at the retail stores and is not selling in Cigar International's website at the regular price. So instead of doing deep discounts on that product, in a sense making the value of their own brands that their own company owns look cheap, they go throw it out there at really probably their landed cost times 2. They're getting it obviously at a much better price than we would ever get it. And that is their liquidation source. So I've seen people they're getting these 5-packs and they're going, oh my God, I stole this 5-pack. The fact is they paid $3 or $4 a stick for those cigars. In the case of a Cohiba red or a white, they may retail at $12 to $20. And they're thinking they really stole the chicken at $5 a stick.
Yeah.
The fact is they have a lot less than $5 a stick into those cigars, and that's how they flush the toilet on those products.
Are they
There's also what was there? There was Sam's.
Say that again.
Is it also older stuff? Like maybe it's like
No.
little
No,
It's old, dusty stuff, but it's not old age stuff.
Yeah.
And it's different because where this stuff is sitting is not in a humidor here.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it's in
just old
Miami.
stuff that's sitting in the warehouse.
It's
like,
old
just
shit that won't move.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have an obligation as a company to keep these factories working.
Yeah.
So the factories are going to make X, and they've got to sell it. And in the U.S., they've created that channel. Look, the model works for them. That's great for them. But the simple fact of the matter is that is what Cigar Bid is all about.
Yeah.
There is these falling auctions that people are trying to catch it on the way down. If they just sit there and watch it for about 3 minutes, it actually goes all the way down and then restarts back up at the top. So it's never going to go below their danger zone where they're not going to make any money on it.
My
So-
reason why I say that from the very beginning is because guys will chase these cigars that are originally $15 cigars that they get for $5 or $3. Or you could buy a Cabroncito, an Accomplice of any variety.
Cigar you're smoking?
The cigar you're smoking for almost the same price. And it is right there.
It's like the house stick. I give that away all the time, and people are like, I don't smoke Lanceros. I'm like, well, just try it. Like, it's just a longer, skinnier cigar. Like, I know you're used to smoking XYZ. Like, try this. And it's like, where do I get that? I was like, it's a common house stick at ICC. Like, like it's
Common
like what,
house
a 14,
sticks,
15-year wrapper on or something?
Oh, you're talking the
the rebar.
Yeah, the rebar.
And that's, you know, but
Yeah.
you bring up a good point. When you buy something from us, it's coming from our humidor. It's been properly humidified. Show me a warehouse that can keep the temperature at 70 and the humidity at 70. It just doesn't happen.
There is one that I saw when I was in Miami that I got to give it up to, and that's Neptune. There are some quality online retailers that really kill it.
And I'm sure Jeff Borshowitz at Corona does the same thing. That's a different. That's a brick and mortar retail chain that has an e-commerce
Fox is
platform.
another one. Yeah, there are a lot of online retailers you can purchase.
Our e-commerce shares the warehouse or shares the inventory with our customers in the store. So but if you've got a 100,000 square foot warehouse in Pennsylvania, the odds that you're keeping the humidity right in that is slim to none.
No way. See that's I don't know what this is. I'm not gonna say it's a bad cigar, but I will say it is not in my palate. That is not. So we were talking about flavors and the whole deal. I don't know what flavors are in that, but that is not. It just is not composed. And I'm gonna kick Brad the nuts if he took one of these failed.
You wait for him to stop.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm scanning to see that this bastard got me.
I'm
Maybe
not
like an old party
that's
or
got a
something.
lot of black pepper in it. I am not a black pepper fan.
So you're much bigger, Garrett, into the whiskey side of things. How would you see the comparison between the cigar world and the whiskey world?
I mean, to me, they go kind of hand in hand. Like, there's so many choices in both. It's really hard to figure out what you like, and it's really a lot of trial and error. Like, I mean, if it's something you enjoy, you just gotta surround yourself by people that know things about whatever part it is that you don't know. I mean, that was what was so great when I got involved up here is I had spent a lot of time buying hundreds of bottles of bourbon and trying out and seeing what I liked, what I didn't like, and not just chasing the heavily allocated stuff. Finding craft distillers, that was really my first passion in bourbon. Was I made some really good friends with these up and coming craft distillers that were really trying to push it, bring old stuff back, try different things, and be creative with it. And I loved that aspect of it. And then Cigars kind of did that. And I guess I got really lucky because the first place and the place that was close to my house that I really started coming into was up here. And you guys kind of do some of that weeding out for people versus walking into a humidor or a shop that is just lined wall to wall, and everywhere there's a pack of 5 or 10 cigars bundled together of try this pack. I mean, how do you ever get anywhere doing that? Like, unless you're just kind of like, I would go buy one stick and one of each and just try something, but stay within a brand even just to see, do I like this brand at all, or is there a certain one in this brand I love? I mean, like bourbon is the same way. I mean, you go through a line of Jim Beam or something like that, and you can go through and do I like any of this? Like, does this have peanut in it? Do I like peanut? Do I not like peanut taste? Do I want more caramel? Do I like spice? Do I not like spice? Do I want something that's really high proof or really low proof? Cigars are the exact same way, and I'm not the guy that knows all the lingo. I'm still learning that. That's been one of the good trade-offs up here, is because bourbon and cigars do go hand in hand. So whereas I may have not had the knowledge on cigars, I had some bourbon knowledge, and when I shared that with others, they shared the cigar knowledge with me, and I got introduced to a lot of things, because it's like a lot of giving more than you take up here. And if you start giving a little and sharing, then others share with you, and we'll start teaching you things.
So a bourbon question, because I don't drink. So, but like I might have unopened the curtains on how cigar bid works. I've heard that a lot of bourbons use MGP juice.
Yes.
So that was one of the things. Is that kind of a MGP is the big guys out there, and then when somebody wants to, like, I know Jalen Smith has his own stuff. He's using a company out of Indiana, but do some of these guys, these professional athletes and stuff, that decide they're going to do a bourbon or a tequila or whatever?
No.
What is it?
Okay, I didn't think so.
What is it?
He's pissed.
And it's got to be a party, some shitty party, or a CAO maybe.
Nope.
What is it?
It's a Mil Diaz.
That is not a Mil Diaz.
Yes, it is.
That is a Mil Diaz.
It's this one right here.
No, that's
not a Mil
CHC.
Diaz. Yeah, that's CHC.
That's CHC, and it came out of Brian McGee's trunk.
Yeah. That is
Terrible.
yeah.
That's been aged properly in the trunk of his car. I guarantee. Rep samples, and you got that today. The rep samples.
It was right next to his fucking brisket.
Let's actually let that change. And I'm sorry to step on what you're saying, but the importance of humidification, letting a cigar rest. That, and I'm smoking a Luciano at the same time, right? No way would I smoke that thing straight out. If that's what it was like out of the humidor,
That's not the experience I had with the CHC, but the CHC it's not this dry.
Yeah.
okay.
So, but yeah, today McGee dropped by some cigar, or yesterday, and
I'll let you
left the
have
CHC.
it. Here. No.
I know where to get more.
No.
What is this? Yeah. Here, you smoked that. Have you smoked it?
No, I haven't.
All right, you smoked it. Thank you, Brad.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, to answer your question where you're going with MGPI, or where I think you're going with that, is
I was just wondering, are they a conglomerate that people that want to have product made for them go to them as their
Yes.
vendor?
very, very much so.
Okay.
Like, so you have distillers and you have non-distiller producers. So like distillers, and they distill their own juice, and that'd be like, Dickel, Buffalo Trace, any of those, like Smoke Wagon, perfect example. They bought a whole bunch of really old MGPI juice and other juice. He's an expert blender. He blends these to get what he thinks is the best product he can make out of it. So you get a lot of these people, like MGPI is like one of the largest. They just mass produce stuff, and they have started recently selling some of their own under certain labels. But for the longest time, it was like you said, just somebody else that they wanted to blend it, they wanted to put their own label on it, they bought the barrels from them, they put their markup on it and sold it under their barrel. But it's still MGPI juice. They play a lot of tricks on
very
it.
parallel to the cigar space.
Same.
You want to get a cigar made, there's certain factories that you can go to.
Yeah.
They'll pull out a whole bunch of tobacco, they'll sit there with a blender, and you'll put together something, and
Most
you'll leave.
like that.
And you think about a lot of big brands that are out there, Drew Estates being the biggest. They don't have their own farm. They just buy tobacco from brokers. There's a lot of guys, Steve Saka and Skip Martin, a lot of these guys that have, they have cigar brands out there that are well respected, but they go to Nicaragua or they'll go to Honduras or the Dominican and get with one of these big guys and blend a line. Now, where the opposite is true is somebody like Luciano. This would be like MGPI making their own brands.
Yeah.
Luciano is the farmer. Luciano grows the tobacco that goes into the Mil Diaz.
Maybe you guys should do a whole segment or talk about that more, because I would find that very interesting. Like, I did a whole thing with the guys up here on one of the whiskey deals. It's like a lot of people will knock Dickel. Like, Dickel obviously hasn't been around for this long, and they just completely suck. Like, yeah, they have a cheaper line that's more affordable. They have all this and that. But like the 15-year Dickel, when you talk about athletes and celebrity bourbons, 15-year Dickel, you can buy a total wine for like $120. Well, Peyton Manning decided he wanted to do his own thing. So he makes his own label, celebrity bottle, Sweetens Cove, and it's like $250. It's 15-year Dickel juice. like just understand. Do you
go ahead
like
and say that
Peyton
one
Manning's?
again, so I can leak that again.
Do you like Peyton Manning's label and his name so much that you're gonna pay $250 for it? But the same thing. And if you're telling me that that's like cigars, yeah, there's probably a lot of cigars like that like you don't even know that like I just bought the $40 version of a stick that I can buy for $12, and it's the same or better. And somebody else has put a wrapper on it and put their fuzzy little wrapper on it.
Let me show you actually reverse what happens. Let's say you get these producers who are kicking ass, they're pushing the limits, they're creating new blends, right? Mm-hmm. Then it gets a massive rating. Well, what that farmer is going to do is they're going to know the recipe. So all of a sudden, you're going to see a new line that comes out. That is, there's one particular manufacturer who's known for this on the backside of the industry. And all of a sudden, he'll come out with this new $6, $7. But it's a lot like this, but it's $5 less. They just run it right under the line. They know exactly what tobacco, what bale, what everything, and they screw them. And there are certain producers, and this producer is a legend and a really good, I mean, truly a good guy, but he looks out for number one.
Yeah, I mean, bourbon's the same way, but if you don't know, most people don't know how to read a label on a bourbon bottle. They don't know what to look for. And it's the same thing I'm learning with cigars. Like, legitimately, like, you go into these other places and, like, Pops even made fun of me. You know, I missed out on one up here, and I said, I finally found it. And he goes, what'd you pay for it? And I was like, $45 a stick. He's like, I sold it for $22 a stick. And
what's that, the bull?
I hate you. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was the bull.
Yeah.
I think it was the bull.
They gouge you for sure. Okay, so everyone who's watching, thank you for joining us. This is our Cigar Talk Live, our Tuesday get-together where we just get to sit and have a cigar with all the beautiful people who want to join us. If you have questions or if you have a direction that this conversation should go, drop it in the comments. We want to know. It's been uncomfortably cigar talky.
It has been. I've been kind of in the cigar world because the Cigar Newbies page it's just exploding, and we're approving 6 to 10 a day. And by the way, not everybody gets in. So when I get guys that are just kind of like randomly entering in, yes to all answers, you're not coming in. That's, to me, that's a troll that doesn't want to take the time and tell us what they want to learn. So I've been really spending a lot of time on that page. We're going to start creating some content for that. But today I was just like, what questions do you have? And we'll give out some cigars to some random people. But the questions started flowing in, and they were great questions. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about cigars today and what's happening. When you add the bourbon, so you have somebody that's 20 steps down the bourbon path and 2 or 3 steps down the cigar path. It's interesting to see how those two things parallel.
Zach has a good question coming in. The main difference, aside from geographical differences, the main difference between bourbon and Scotch. Is it a mash bill thing aside from where it's from, or
it's more where it's from? But yeah, it's mash bill too. I mean, like you have peated Scotches and non-peated Scotches. It took me a long time to figure that out. I can't speak a whole lot on that because I really don't like Scotch. Mm-hmm. I found out I can drink non-peated Scotches. It's the peat moss that they smoke it with, and it adds this extremely, to me, earthy. And I don't want to use that term really because I like earthy cigars at times. Like, it's just a different...
Dirty.
It makes it kind of dirty. And there's a whole other backstory of why I don't like it, but non-peated Scotch, I can't enjoy.
I kind of like this.
It's more caramely and sweet, but yeah.
Smoky, yeah.
It's a smokiness I don't like.
Do you like mezcal?
I don't.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I don't. And it's very similar to a peated Scotch.
Peated Scotch tastes like you stuck your head in the smoker, took it out, and then drank a regular Scotch that's a non-peated
But if you
Scotch.
get JP out here, that's his...
Yeah, it's probably his jam.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, there are serial killers amongst us every day. We just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I'll tell you, the single worst cigar I've ever had in my life was at an early trade show that we went to, and it was a company called Hammer and Sickle, and they have their own vodka brand, but they were going to be really smart, and they came out with this. There's this concept of taking bourbon barrels and burning them in the curing barns and letting that smoke fill the barns and add that burnt flavor to the tobacco. Well, they did it with peat.
Yeah.
And I took maybe 2 puffs, and it was the worst goddamn cigar I've ever had. And the difference between 1 and 2 is a mile. It is so freaking bad. And so, Brandon, you got to try this. So we're walking out after the trade show.
I ain't no
he's
punk bitch.
he's no punk bitch. So I'm gonna stick with this thing. You got what, a 1/4 inch in,
I got that far.
and then it was
I got that far. We ditched
was-
it, and then we were going to the Beatles Love Show at the Mirage. We actually had to go find a CVS, walk to it to get those little, the little dispensable.
the little things you stick on your tongue to mouthwash.
Mouthwash and the little. What
The
is
Listerine strips?
Yeah, the Listerine
Yes.
strips, but they're little toothbrushes that have the deal. So we're brushing our teeth, walking on the strip, looking like a couple of coke heads. Go to the Love Show. It was the worst cigar ever.
It
Go
was
to
was
the
the
Michael
worst cigar
Jackson show next time. If you
It's
haven't.
good. I've
That's
seen it.
amazing.
I've
Really?
seen it. Yeah, it's good. I've seen the Love Show 12 times, so it's like I'm a huge Beatles fan.
I could do the Love Show about every day.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Don't you do that?
Nice.
Just awesome.
Nice. Okay.
So I think we should jump them into the questions then.
Let's chum him.
Okay.
Let's let him be warned.
Just do
be
a little
noticed,
bit.
Let him know. This is a judgment-free zone until you ask these questions,
You're very judged.
and then
Yeah.
this is specifically to judge you.
So everybody, put your judges' hats on out there, and
Where
if you
do
know
you
any good
think-
judges of
man.
people, forward this.
I think
Feels
he's
like
gonna
I got
go-
grilled the first week when I got.
I think
the
it's going to go
Advent.
1-2. I think it's going to go 1-2.
I don't know. I've not known Garrett for very long. I like to think
He's not a
that
0-3.
We're on the same level.
He's not a 0-3.
So I'm going to say between 0 and 2.
All right.
Right?
All right, these questions are serious shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
man.
And
This is
there's
I
now
got grilled at like walking back in here last time.
there's
I
now
won't name
5.
names.
There's now 5 questions, but there's the big 3. Really, the big 3. Should we give him one? Are you prepared for this?
I
mean, this
I'm
is
gonna
a time.
say no because
Look, and nobody's paying any attention.
Yeah.
So just be yourself and open up and be honest. It's just
No,
the internet.
honestly, the people watching are like, ask the questions. Ask the questions.
oh,
We want to
okay.
judge Garrett.
Okay, let's judge Garrett now.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving into the segment
Let's
of
go.
judging Garrett.
Let's do it.
Okay, question number 1, Adrian.
Yeah, my favorite. Do you between 0 is it 10? Or 5?
0
One-
is Adrian.
1 to 10
One
are
to
the
10.
numbers,
Yeah.
and then Adrian makes up his own.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm 0, pretty much on all of them. So between 1 and 10. 1
I see how he's tainting the pool.
10 being like you certainly believe.
Because if he
1,
thinks
like,
he's cool,
maybe.
he's going to try to copy
Bigfoot.
him.
All right. Say it
Do
again.
you believe in Bigfoot? Does
No.
he exist?
No.
1 to 10.
No. 0.
0.
0.
What would get you to change your mind?
A body.
I mean, yeah.
And I'm just not a conspiracy theory.
You follow a
person.
Sasquatch
Like,
page.
Because
I mean, I
fucking
think
see
it's
it.
funny,
I
but,
want
like-
to believe in it, but it's not.
I think it's funny. I mean, do I think there's probably some weird gorilla in some jungle that people are just gonna call Sasquatch? All right, so I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1 on that. But like,
We have a private
no.
member that's.
Yeah, I've heard about this. I've heard these stories, these rumors. I'm still not quite sure who that person is.
It's Mark McClarkin, and we got.
but I'm really bad with names. Like
there is
the
a
name.
there is a team of guys that are going to go up
Yeah,
to his cabin in
the
Oklahoma.
Earth is flat.
Mark was
Oh
sitting
no,
behind-
there's flat
he was
earthers.
sitting behind me earlier when I walked in with his computer.
He's a hunter.
He was behind you.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's Mark,
Wow, okay.
He's got the documented
Okay.
proof,
okay.
and he'll be glad to take you out to his
He's got
place out
land
in the woods.
Oklahoma. He's heard
It's a
him.
squatchy place.
Seen him.
It's-
Squatchy place.
He's
All
super
right.
squatchy.
He's got recordings. Yeah.
I haven't heard
Rocks
of
Is
this
there
thrown at him.
copious amounts of drugs involved in this?
Rocks
or-
thrown at him.
I
There
mean,
might need to be copious
Tequila
amounts.
Man.
bourbon for sure.
Yeah, absent most certainly.
All right.
And
Real
a lot of
abs.
tequila.
Okay.
A lot of tequila.
So here's 0.
Okay, 0.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's good. Okay.
So
question-
William Treadway's coming in, by the way, says never been a documented footprint.
I think he's right.
Other than the
than
watermelons.
Yeah, well that's I saw the smashed watermelons. I don't
Yeah,
remember the
still-
footprints, but I remember there's the watermelon smash.
In a
But there's a lot of
field
guys.
full of cows.
No, there was no cows walking through the goddamn field. All right.
I mean, I'm still scarred from when I worked at Champs in high school and saw Shaq's shoe come in and unbox it. I mean, if that's Sasquatch, I mean, like,
No.
that's impressive. But I mean, I don't know, someone would have to really beat that to like make me even consider this.
What is he, 18?
That's like
22.
Yeah.
22.
22, 24,
Yeah.
something. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's a Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot.
What are you, 12?
12.
And his
a normal
hand-
human being.
His
It's like
hands like this
10
big.
sizes more. I mean, it's
twice your foot.
We saw him at F1 walk out into the crowd, and it was like what Bigfoot would have looked like walking out.
Did
the
I show
crowd.
you
Yeah.
the video of him walking through the pits?
Yeah.
He's enormous.
He is from 100 yards away.
He
you
looks-
know he is fucking huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
He is huge.
Because one of the guys from the Haas team went out to get an autograph from him, and he walked past me. He's my height. And then he gets out to Shaq, and he's like looking up at him, and I'm looking at it at scale going, Jesus, that dude is,
He's
he's
huge.
enormous.
Yeah, it's a giant human
He's
being.
like 5 inches taller than Jonathan Scott.
Yeah.
Wow. He knocking his head the whole time.
You
Yeah.
have to duck to come under
That's
that
a 6'8" door.
Oh, Jonathan Scott does all the time. He ducks even though he
But I mean, like,
Clear
he
it
would
out.
have to, like, duck and duck.
Yeah.
Question number 2.
All right, let's get it.
Which one you?
Let's
That-
go.
that
Let's
look.
go. UFOs. Do they
UFOs.
exist?
Oh, that one's tougher. I'm gonna give that like a 2 or a 3.
2 or 3?
2 or 3.
Even with the new naval evidence that's come out from the fighter jets.
I mean, I'm more likely to think that the military has stuff that like we don't know about or we don't get to see. That like, are they showing you proof of their own like super badass stuff that like they can do whatever with? Like, I'm more on that thing, but I definitely believe there is other life forms out there. I mean, you cannot have a galaxy this ginormous that every year I've been alive, they invent something that lets you see further into space or go further. Like, definitely believe that. But UFOs, like, I mean, why would they just come here and hover and look at stuff? You're not gonna like do anything else and just go away. You're not more intrigued than to just sit and hover and look at whatever. Or play Maverick and Goose with a fighter pilot and just hover over them and give them the finger. I mean,
Valid point.
come on, like you're gonna do something more.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know they didn't have that transport thing that they?
I
had
mean,
in Star
maybe they
Trek?
did.
Maybe
Maybe we can't contemplate that.
I'm convinced all redheaded actresses, female actresses, are aliens, and I think they probably brought them.
Sigourney Weaver is
Prove me
definitely
wrong.
an alien.
Prove me wrong.
It's a good point. It's a good
And
point.
you don't see brunette conventions, you don't see blonde conventions, but they're redhead conventions, and that's where they're all conspiring. This, I'm telling you,
Would
this,
you go to a blonde convention?
I would have back in the day when I had blonde hair.
Zach Patterson says we are their Discovery Channel.
Hey, maybe.
Good
Maybe.
aid. Yeah. Finding Bigfoot and all stuff. Okay, and then the third is kind of a two-parter, but we'll start with ghosts. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
Like
Apparitions,
apparition ghosts.
physical representation of the spirit world.
fucking bed sheet and all that shit.
Okay, so like, all right. I want to make
he's
sure
got
I'm
a story.
understanding this right.
He's got a story.
I've got a couple of these, but
Yes, good.
so you mean like actual like you can see like a hologram that you would consider a ghost, or you mean like
You know what? Run with whatever what is most plausible to you.
okay, like I don't think you can like
Story time.
I don't
Really
think you
get
can
ready.
see ghosts. Like I mean if you do, that's probably more in your head. Like, but I can't say My oldest cousin had a house in Ohio when she first got married that was over 100 years old that they were remodeling and fixing up. I was probably 13 to 15 in age, and me and my little brother, who's 2 years younger than me, were staying upstairs, and there was an older lady that died in the house, like everything, like lived there, whatnot. And at like 3 o'clock in the morning, my brother and I both woke up to the smell of bacon and like a home cooked breakfast like going on. Kind of like startled us enough that we both woke up. We could hear pots like someone was cooking. And we went downstairs and realized it's 3 o'clock in the morning and nobody's cooking. So I can't really explain that, but
And you heard the stuff?
you could hear
That's pretty
sounds,
good.
you could
Yeah, you know
smell
what?
it.
Bacon, Adrian.
What did y'all
bacon.
eat then? Did you eat fucking burgers and stuff?
No, we went to
His cousin
shitty
fucking-
Ohio Mexican food. Like, that is
Oh.
not Mexican food.
So your cousin farted and you're like, oh, fucking bacon?
They were downstairs. We were in the 1 bedroom upstairs by ourselves, and both of us woke up. Like,
Just believe,
not just
Adrian.
one or the other.
I'm trying.
Not one or the other. Both of us woke up. So I guess that's my closest ghost thing. I do have a funny story about both of my bosses where we were doing a fire in Arizona, and someone had died in this fire, unfortunately, and we're walking the unit with the adjuster stuff, and you know the windows and doors are all boarded up. Like, we took the boards off the doors to get in. We're walking around. Someone's died in here. Everybody's kind of creeped out. We're just trying to get a feel for how bad the damage is. And my watch is like catching light, and my boss is like, he would have answered 10 on all of these things. And my watch gets light, and he's like, and it's real dusty. I mean, you still got the soot and the ash, and we just opened up the door. You know, everything's stirred up now. We're walking around, and my watch is kicking this light around the room. And he's like getting out a cell phone. He's trying to record this war. And I mean, I'm about to pee myself laughing, and I'm just keeping it going and just walking around. And he's over there his phone, and the one partner goes flying out the thing. He's like, I'm not being here. I'm uncomfortable. I can't be in here. I'm not doing this. So yeah.
That'd be a good conversation with Ty.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that to
So
myself.
that would be in the forefront of it, and then he comes out from the back end of it.
Can I
So
tell you?
what about spirits?
I definitely think that's legit. Like, I've had some interesting. So I'll share this. So my little brother moved to California. He's kind of got all Californianized, and he sends me about 5 years ago for my birthday a gift card, and he says, you have to use this. I know if I just tell you to do it, you won't do it, so I bought you an actual gift card. Don't waste my money. Go do this. And it's a sleep deprivation tank. Didn't even know what that was, or a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yep.
Didn't know what that was. And he's like, don't do anything extra, just go and experience this.
No additional
No
chemicals.
gummies, no nothing, just go experience this. And I said, all right, okay, I'll do it. And that's a weird experience. I mean, you're in this thing that's like a 6 foot in diameter egg, and I don't know if anybody else has ever done it, but
Brandon's done it.
it's got lights and music that come on that are very soothing. It fills up with water. You shut it. Eventually, you start floating. You can kind of touch the walls. If you set up, you can touch the ceiling. So, like, you can get out. It doesn't really make you feel claustrophobic. But then the lights eventually go out, the sound stops playing, and then for however long you're sitting there, 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. I think they only let you go up to an hour the first time. But it's a reset on all your senses. It's super calming. So my dad died when I was 24, passed suddenly of a heart attack, his second one, ironically waiting for a pacemaker. At 27, my mother tells me that, oh, by the way, when your dad was in the Army, way before us, when he came back, before he went to Nam, he got a girl pregnant, supposedly, maybe have a half-brother, half-sister. Drove me insane. I spent several years trying to figure this out. Then I made this post on Facebook when all the DNA stuff started happening. And I said, man, you guys are idiots doing this DNA. Like, eventually your information is going to get sold. They're going to use your information for something else. Like, they wouldn't just be giving you all this information.
That's
They're
all
creating a
aliens.
database.
That's all alien.
Well, that got
data.
That got taken very out of context by some members in my family, even though I had asked everybody, and everybody in the family was like, oh, no, we don't know, like, if it was really your dad's, if she carried it to term, you know, all these things. It was basically like, shut up, we're not talking about this. Well, after my dad passed, every time I had a dream about my father, and we were like 6 and 7, you know, much like you guys all are, we were super close. If my dad was alive when I got married, he'd have been the best man in my wedding, you know. Instead, it was my little brother. Every time I had a dream or something, though, that my dad was involved in, it was never anything like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, hey, you know, proud of you or anything like that. It was legit like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you making these stupid decisions? It was very, and I'd wake up mad or angry all the time. Well, I go to the separate deprivation tank and I'm trying not to freak out. So at first, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. Like, I'm like, all right, this is really weird. What did my brother get me into? Well, as soon as I like actually fully relaxed, I had this very calming feeling of my dad's presence. Like, that's it. There's nothing more to that. Just, I felt his presence. I can't describe that any better than that, but I felt his presence. So I go home, tell my wife about this. We're cooking dinner. My aunt, who normally would just call me, sends me a text. Got time to talk? Now I'm freaked out. I'm like, oh, what do you have to tell me? And she goes, literally, calls me and she's like, so remember about 10 years ago when you asked me about your dad and possibly having a half brother or half sister? She goes, I think I found him. I go, him? She goes, yeah, I think I found him. So I wasn't going to tell you, but your cousin said since you asked, I should let you know because you did ask. And even though you made that Facebook post, I did one of those DNA tests. I know how many children I've given birth to. And there's a guy that said he wanted to be contacted if there was a match. And he matches the way you would match with me on this DNA test. I'm like, you're kidding me. They had already done all this research. They had this information for like 30, 45 days before she told me. She sends me a LinkedIn profile, a Facebook profile, and she goes, oh, by the way, isn't Frisco, Texas really close to where you live? I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Like, she goes, no, he lives in Frisco.
No
Holy
way.
Yeah, and I'm living in Savannah at the time. So I send this guy a message on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, I'm not doing all this stuff, but this is what I know. You said you want to be contacted. You can respond back to me or not. And if you don't respond back, I will never bother you again. Like, maybe you just don't want to go down that road. I understand. But this is what I know. And, oh, by the way, here's a picture of you with, I assume, your adopted dad at like 3. Here's me and my grandfather. And when I sent the picture of him and his dad to my cousins and everybody else in my family, they're like, who's the weird guy holding you? I mean, we look identical at 3 years old. And he's 12 years older than me. And from here to here, him and I look exactly like, more so than me and my full-blooded brother that's 2 years younger than me. We do the same gestures. It's so weird. I met him for the first time on my 38th birthday.
Should bring him up
Yeah,
here.
Do you still have a relationship with him?
Oh yeah, we hang out all the time. He owns some jiu-jitsu gyms. He does sales for some kind of tech company, and they live less than 5 miles from me. We moved to Texas in '96. The place they had us staying in while we were finding our house as a family, he was living in an apartment 1 block over. He has the same degree my dad has. They started out in the same career path. We lived from '96 until he moved to Colorado for a few years. We lived within a 10-mile square radius of each other. Like, we had to have crossed paths.
Whoa.
So that's
That's crazy.
I mean, like, that's weird.
That is.
But it's awesome. I mean, I have 3 new nephews. I mean, like, it's crazy. You know, they're
So cool.
17, 20, and 28 or 27.
So, Adrian, have you ever had a holy shit, it's a small world thing happen to you that really stuck out?
I mean, I heard this conversation Garrett and I were talking about it earlier, and I said, it's not a small world, it's a tiny world.
It's a very
But, I mean, very similar to Garrett, my dad was married, my real dad was married like 5 times. So I have brothers and sisters I don't even know. And there's a few that I try to make contact with, and weren't having it. So, yeah. I mean, I probably have run.
Yeah, probably members here.
Have you had a small world situation?
Look, you might be going a different direction, but something happened to me on Sunday that's interesting. That I was like, yes, Cigar Talk Live. I'm talking about this. So you probably have a small world. Deal. Take off running on that.
So Busy was down here, and he knew a couple that was in town from Omaha. They were here for a wedding. Brought them in. They came in the back. They hung out in the private lounge. I sat down, started talking to them, and we started with where did you grow up? What part of town? All this other stuff. Well, we start with we grew up in North Omaha to that starting to fine tune, and found out. Now he was about 2 years younger than I am, but our house had an alley at the end behind it that you pulled into the garage, and our house was 6 houses away from this guy who lived at the end of the alley. And we talked about the same park that we would play basketball at and all this other stuff. And this is a guy that, I mean, we would never have crisscrossed paths, but to meet somebody that just happens to be in Dallas that weekend, and then to find out that he lived 6 houses away when we grew up at the same time was just boggled my mind how small it was.
That's cool. Yeah, JD Mars coming in. My wife was adopted. We found her biological parents about 4 years ago. Used Ancestry and 23andMe. That's cool that technology exists.
It's wild, man. It's wild. Everybody asked me at first, like, well, do you want to meet him? Are you going to meet him? I'm like, yeah, why not? I mean, worst thing that happens, he hasn't been in my life for 38 years. If he's a complete piece of trash or whatever, we don't click, doesn't get along, he does not have to continue to be in my life.
Right.
You know, so like, there was no real risk. Like, you know, it was really cool.
All right, so on Sunday.
I can't wait for
it. It was really weird. So I've told you guys before that Ali did this like palm reader bullshit in Mexico.
Yeah.
And we're sitting up in Denton. We take the kids up, and they're all playing around at this cool little truck yard in Denton. And there was this little palm reader that was sitting there. And she's like, oh, what are those? It's like, oh, yeah, look, she's full of shit. She's taking people's money and lying to them. Isn't that cool? And she's like, we were talking about her experience. It's like, what else did you do? Oh, what, they say you're going to be with a tall guy that likes beer? How many tall guys like beer in the world? This is bullshit. And she's running through, like, the things after things. And it started getting to a point where it was like, oh, wow, how does she know that? You know? And I was like, yeah, still, she's full of shit. And my whole response, they're liars. The world is too connected. She can figure out who's coming, the whole deal. And then walking, you've got Elias and Alessia playing. Walking, this old guy comes up and he just taps on Elias's head. He just comes and taps on him. It's like, oh, hi. Starts speaking to him in Spanish. Oh, that's kind of weird. Elias looks like a little white kid.
Yeah.
And then they start talking. I look up. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so we start having this conversation. And the guy kind of walks up, and we have a conversation with him. It's like, oh, how are you? How are you doing? Yep, nice. This guy looks 100% like Ale's grandfather, who just passed away a couple years ago. And he's talking with the kids, and all of a sudden we're talking. He's from Michoacan. All of these things are happening, and the guy's fucking name is Ruben.
That was her.
The same name, the same looking guy, just comes out of here and look, it's a coincidence, right? But it was a really weird coincidence that I'm telling her that there's no way this is real, there's no way this happens, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes this guy. We have this conversation for 3 to 5 minutes, and then he just kind of goes away. Like, all right, well, we gotta find this guy, right? I mean, we gotta have a conversation with this guy, and it didn't hit us until he was gone. And then all of a sudden, he's just gone forever. It looked like he was going to sit at the table 3 tables away. And then we come back and we're talking, and then all of a sudden you look around trying to find him. Gone.
Bagger Vance.
Right? Just Bagger Vance too. And I thought, that is so entertaining, the coincidence level of all of those things happening. right, actually, not even after the conversation we were having, during the conversation of me saying this is all bullshit. And just being so like, no, this is stupid. And then all of this happens.
So, were there any things that she said that you were kind of like, now, because it's not like they did research because they knew you were going to go play in this yard in Denton. Were there any things that were like, how did you know that?
No.
Very specific.
No, it was just his body language, the way he shuffled his feet, the way that he like tapped on Elias's head. Every single thing was like this color of his skin, because her grandfather was like this. He had very tan skin, but it wasn't like moreno. It was like just tan skin. He just looked like. The only difference is like when you see somebody after they pass in a dream, they just look a little better.
Yeah.
He just looked a little better. It was the wildest thing, and take it for what it is. It's a coincidence, but we both left just laughing about it and feeling better about it. Like, oh, let's just act like maybe that was him to just come in and say, hey, everything's okay, but just come in and check on the kids, and then he's gone. It was such a wild experience, It was cool. I really enjoyed it too.
That's awesome.
But it was Josh Sims. I love talking to people who say they moved to Frisco 15 years ago and then tell them I lived here for 40 years. Josh Sims, why the hell are you buying 5-packs online and shit? We're right here. You could just come here and buy cigars from us. I didn't know you were part of. I didn't know he was in Frisco. I'm sure he's been in. All like he's only this big in the image.
Yeah, Josh, have you not been here?
He looks like my type of people, though. Drinking a Deep Elm in his profile picture.
Yeah.
Josh, come hang out. Come be on the show.
Saturday at the shop.
Saturday at the shop. We'll see you Saturday at the shop.
I won't be here. I'll be in Houston.
Ooh,
I'm going to Cabo. I'm out for a week.
he's going to Cabo.
Lucky you.
Hopefully Brandon gives me
Hope
all
you
these
make it back.
I'll
key
get you-
spots he keeps telling me about.
I'll get you some places.
That taco place is
I see
awesome.
you out. I got him into that. Floral Farms. We'll see if we can get him a reservation there. Ooh. Okay.
Question number 4.
Oh, I made it to
Or are
4?
you done?
Oh, I was gonna go into a different question.
Okay.
That's because
Go ahead.
he's going somewhere, you're going somewhere. You better book your flights to Europe because them ships were expensive. So
Yeah.
just go ahead and put that.
Is that still a thing?
It better be still a thing.
It's still a thing.
Okay.
My wife hasn't spent a single second thinking about anything other than her backyard.
How does
Now the
ships,
backyard is almost done.
how does
so-
ships get across the ocean if the world's flat?
Well, they fall off and then they build another one.
It's an
Yeah.
ice wall.
Yeah, we need
Okay.
Hoskins in here.
I was just curious.
I'll tell you guys something when we get off the camera. And I'm not I believe the earth is round, by the way. I want to know what your guys' favorite, most unique vacation spot has ever been. Where's been the best place you've ever been that maybe you don't want to go back to because you think it would change from the first time you got there?
Ooh, do I have to answer it with the last caveat you added? Because I don't know. Man.
That's a salvage tag on there because of
I mean, if you just said favorite spot I've ever been, and like honestly, if I could learn the language and make the same amount of money I make here, the Spaniards have it completely figured out right, in my personal opinion. When I went to Spain, I fell in love with Spain.
I've heard that.
Barcelona, Madrid, I mean, they get up at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, they walk to the cafe, they get their bread, their cheese, they sit and enjoy it with their coffee, smoke a cigar, they wander into work, they work for 3 or 4 hours,
Take a nap.
they take a siesta, they go and have some tapas, some sangria, they maybe, depending on their job, go back to work for 2 or 3 more hours, then they're off, then they enjoy the nightlife, they have a
They eat
modest
dinner at midnight.
They go to bed
They
at
eat super
midnight
late.
and they do it all over. And I'm not even a night person, and I fell in love with Spain.
Ooh. Never been, but would love to go.
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. Rovnik. Huh.
Dubrovnik was really cool.
Huh.
That's the same thing.
That wouldn't have been on my list.
Yeah.
But,
Where do you want to go?
Now it's a
You wanna go to
war-torn
fucking
country.
Yugoslavia?
Yeah, I've seen Behind Enemy Lines. I'm not going there.
Montenegro was really cool too. Being
Where?
in Montenegro.
Is that in the south of France?
Oh, it's fun.
Is that Montenegro?
It's like
Is it France?
it's northern towards like Croatia.
Oh,
all
I'm
that,
way
I
off.
think. Like it's up there, like because we flew into Barcelona and then we went to Vienna, Austria, and then we went over to Montenegro.
So are you talking
Boy,
about
I
like
was way
are you
off.
talking about something that's just way real beautiful,
Hey, we
or
got-
just
yeah.
it was just a great
We
vacation?
got Johnny Goodner coming in with the hard facts.
Disney World. Free woke Disney.
Yeah, definitely.
Free woke. Puerto Rico, Jamaica was pretty good. I'd say Frisco at ICC. My man.
Yeah.
I've got a cigar waiting for you. He's coming back in a couple months. That means I'll bring in the moonshine. We can finally drink that moonshine together.
I want to drink Rodney's bottle with his face on, so I don't have to keep looking at it.
Gladly. We'll do that next
we,
week.
like,
You can
kill
join us.
that?
We'll kill the whole thing.
The week after next. Week after next.
Colombia says Frank Tomaszewski. What's yours? You haven't.
I
you've
haven't.
been to, like Mexico and.
Yeah, I haven't been that many. I mean, cruising. There's places that I really love St. Martin. I think it's beautiful. I think that's an area I want to go vacation. But I think as an overall trip, that was just, I'll never forget it, was when we all went to Canada fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Boys were, how old? That was 90,
01.
2001, so twins were 10, you're
12.
12. Grandpa was there. We had 2 boats. Caught unbelievable amount of fish.
What part of Canada?
It was about,
Dryden. It was outside of. It was in Ontario.
it's kind of straight up 100 mile, or about 100 miles north of the Minnesota border, right? If you went straight up from Minneapolis.
Okay.
Remember when I was pissing in that bottle and Grandpa grabbed the brakes?
Yeah.
I was pissing in the bottle, he grabbed the brakes and it just went everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, that was that trip was.
How cold was it up there? That's a very good point
Because you leave Omaha and it's 100 degrees, and it wasn't 100 degrees up there.
But
We
you
froze.
packed like
we
it was.
Packed like it must. It's going to be 100 degrees up
it
there.
was 48 degrees up there,
Yeah.
July 4th. We
Yeah.
went over July 4th.
That's comfortable.
We were freezing our balls off. It was just.
We had one pair of long pants, and we had
Between
one long shirt,
5
no
of you.
jackets,
Oh my God.
no
It
raincoats, no
You
nothing.
remember getting stuck in that Moose Lake?
Yeah.
It was just freezing. Oh
Yes.
my God. We
Yeah.
all got hypothermia.
But we caught an unbelievable amount of fish, and it was
Allagash
so
in
much
Maine
fun.
is like that too. That's a really great spot to go.
Really, in Maine?
Looks like a Disney movie.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the name of the place?
It's the Allagash, I believe is what it's called. The
Allagash?
mountains up in Maine. It's like on the border of Canada and Maine. I went up there when I was like 13 with some friends when I moved to Connecticut. It's absolutely amazing, beautiful. Until you see a bear across
the roof is
river.
leaking at the American Airlines Stadium.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh, that
specialty
looks
contractor.
beautiful.
There's
Wow,
only 2
that's
that do that.
beautiful.
But we're running 62 to 47. So we're good.
So we've got, good Lord. Yeah.
I hope KO's watching that. He's
Alaska
gonna say it's just
fishing
because
trip?
we're winning.
He's in
We're
Puerto
gonna
We
go
have
home.
Yeah.
coming in from the desert wasteland of Hobbs, New Mexico. Anything below 70 requires at least a
Now you've been all over the world. You've been to Thailand.
Myanmar,
You went to
Iceland.
Iceland.
I will say probably the most unforgettable thing is because
Northern
Ali
Lights.
isn't working right now, or isn't watching right now. It's seeing the Northern Lights in Iceland.
I want to do that so bad.
It was as close to a religious experience as you can have. Just getting out. I still remember the left turn I took when they light up and then they just watching them move. It's like watching the inside of a marble dance. And there's a sound to it. It sounds like if you take sand and put it on glass, you feel like you can reach it. It was an emotional experience.
That's awesome.
It
That's
was
awesome.
unbelievable.
Have you done like Big Bend down in South Texas where you can see like the Milky Way and stuff? That's really
I have
cool.
seen that in Colorado a number of
That's
times. but,
really cool.
That makes you feel small, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
you can go down to. You guys should do that as much as like golf. The Lajitas trip.
Yeah.
down on the border. Like you can literally hit balls into Mexico. You can go to Big Bend. They got all kinds of things.
We should rent an RV and do that. Begley's been
It's
talking
awesome.
about that. That'd be cool as shit.
Is the mayor still a goat?
I'm not sure.
The mayor was a goat?
The mayor.
It's like a Wild West town. Like it's old Wild West looking in the town. You can go ziplining, kayaking, horseback riding. I think they have a clay range.
Their hotel is owned by a multi-millionaire, and it's like
Yeah.
super nice. Yeah. I don't know if he's still a mayor, but the goat, a goat was a mayor. You give him a beer, and he'll fucking chug it.
Holy shit.
I heard this story, but I don't know. Like I didn't see that while I was there.
Oh, that's badass. I want to go meet the mayor.
Yeah.
That's badass. I would say the most memorable place that I don't want to go back to is, it's called Bagan, B-A-G-A-N. It's in Myanmar, which is a form of Burma. We went there on our honeymoon. And all of these handmade pagodas, it was, if you just Google Bagan, you can't make paintings that are more beautiful than this place. And the Thai food, we would have an entry, we would have, huge beers of Myanmar beer, 2 full, we'd have dessert, eat like kings, and it would be between $7 and $9. And you would tip them $2, and it was like the world-changing thing. But it was...
The place I wouldn't go back to is Aruba. I got married there. I've done like 3 or 4 times since. The only reason I say that, it's the worst airport in the world. It is the worst airport.
Busy's flying there right now.
It's so
Camels
horrible.
are like every other week, right?
You have to. I'm one of those people that I've never missed a flight, but I'm so terrified of missing my flight. I'm the guy that's at the airport 2.5 hours early.
Don't go to Myanmar because we missed our flight. Actually, they canceled the flight because the airport didn't have power. The airport, smaller than this lounge, didn't have power.
Aruba you'll get there 4 hours ahead of time, and you might miss your flight because the line is so long. They don't direct anybody, and like even if you're like TSA approved, any clear, you don't know to just skip all these people because they all like congregate right around the one entry. It is the worst experience in an airport you could ever have. It's beautiful.
China was the worst.
So safe, but man, I wouldn't do it again.
China can.
I had actually won a trip to China when I was with Panasonic. Of all places, the Japanese are going to send me to China.
No way.
But and I had won it, and then the week before we went, I get a call and they're like, "Hey, you watching the news?" I'm like, "Nope." And the dude's standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square, and I'm like, "I don't think I'm going to be able to go."
Pass on the whole China.
Pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
Adrian, what's been the most memorable, most incredible place you've been?
I am not an international traveler. The furthest I've been outside of the States is Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico.
That's
it.
as far as you've been?
That's it.
Wow.
That's like Waco to here.
Sure. But to me, it's like there's so many places within the States I think that are beautiful enough that maybe...
There are some amazing
Yeah,
places.
maybe I'll get to,
You're
those
still
other
in, right?
locations.
You're still in for tequila?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mexico, for sure,
Okay.
obviously. But, this has been places I've been with Kathleen. Yeah, within the desert, New Mexico, Arkansas, it's about the experience. Circle back to the whole experience about the cigar. To me, it's about the experience of where you're at the time with who you're at. And what's that quote that you had? Like, what's the best cigar you've had?
The best cigar you had is the one that you're smoking right now.
That and what's...
No, the quote that we have is, "I may have had a better cigar, but I've never had a cigar in a better place."
Better cigar, better place.
Yeah.
Coming soon to ICC is that with the
I like
yeah.
that. I
No,
like that.
it was cool. We did that in Cabo, as a matter of fact.
Yeah?
He had that in Cabo.
Yeah.
And when you're driving, you'll go past El Tule, which is a big, long bridge if you go down to the city. If you take an immediate left, you can go and hike this deal. I don't know if you can anymore, but just watching the whales run, watching them breathe.
We went up there before the sun came up, and I was sitting there. We had these Cuban cigars, and it was just he had this group of guys that were with him. He set them all back, and it was just me and him sitting up there, maybe 600 feet, something like that. We're sitting there, and the sun's coming up, and the whales are breaching in the bay. And I just said, we knew we were going to open the shop. We hadn't opened it yet. And I said, I've had a better cigar, but I've never had a cigar in a better place. And he's like, "That's it, write it down."
you know what's funny is it was still 4 years. That it was still 4 years prior. We were a couple years into the journey.
Yep.
4 years
awesome.
prior that we realized we knew we were going to do it. So, that was really cool. That was unforgettable
So
stuff.
Zach's coming in talking about Hot Springs, Arkansas. Pre-COVID, we went. I was doing research about going to Arkansas, and Hot Springs was one of the places we were going to go. And then I saw this place in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
God, I want to go there so bad.
We rented this Airbnb, which is a tree house.
Tree houses.
Yeah, it's a.
They have like 10 or 12 of them. Is this a place where they have like 10 or 12 of them? You have to put them like almost a year out.
I mean, maybe this one was only 2. It's a shipping container.
Okay.
There's only 2 of them built into a tree, essentially, and it's, I mean, luxurious.
Yeah.
You walk in. It's only made for adult couples, no children.
Yeah.
So you walk in. There's A and B. We took B, and it's like it's overlooking the lake, the sunsets, the sunrises. Beautiful. Cigars, out in the patio.
Do us a favor, just give us a thumbs up if you want us to keep rolling, because we're still holding right now.
Yeah.
And this is too much fun to walk away from. So if you guys still want it, just stay in. Comment. I don't really give a shit, to be honest, because this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I've got you hooked up for the Sprinter, and all you got to do is get 3 other bike riders and go head up to Arkansas.
Oh man,
There's great golf up there too. There's like 12 courses
man.
right around Hot Springs.
That is mountain bike capital of the world.
Yeah, you can do that
That
too.
is the mecca.
But there's the treehouse like he was talking about. There's also one where there's like 10 or 12. They're all on like couple acre lots. You have to book them about 8 months out.
Thanks, Frank.
They have hot tubs on the like treetop jacuzzi decks, and you got your own private little setting.
This motherfucker had a hot tub
They're
inside.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
God,
was one time that we stayed in Jerry's house. He has just the main house had, I think, 30 bedrooms, but it's the highest house on Lake Tahoe, on the mountain. And we were sitting in the hot tub, and the hot tub goes out over the deal, so you're kind of out hovering. And we're just sitting there smoking cigars in this hot tub after playing golf that day, but we're out looking over, the ski lifts are right behind us from Heavenly, and we're sitting there looking over Lake Tahoe.
It's the best snow I've ever seen.
That was pretty cool.
That snow is unbelievable. And Lake Tahoe, oh my God,
Did you
incredible.
get to see like the Himalayas when you were over?
No, we didn't get that
Yeah.
far. We went to Thailand. I didn't enjoy my experience in Thailand, but we didn't get that far
Okay.
up. No, we went to Thailand and then spent about a week. We actually lived on a boat in the Andaman Sea and just did scuba diving and all that. But it was we didn't get all the way up to the Himalayas.
Okay.
No, it's okay. So where's a place?
Thomas said you come in. I'm not sure if that's a thumb or not.
Wait, that's not a thumb. That is not a thumb, Frank. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate your attention.
Frank's
Josh
a fan.
Sims,
Oh yeah.
Frank is a man. Frank, I couldn't ask for a better neighbor.
Hey, you met Frank?
I don't know if I have or not. I'm
Frank the
terrible
Tank.
with names.
Frank the
is
Tank.
awesome.
I'm terrible with
Brandon's
names.
neighbor.
He's my neighbor, and
Yeah.
I love living next to this.
I'm sorry, Frank, you
Sims-
have to live
Josh
next
comes in with a winner.
One
Where's the one place you smoked a cigar that you'll never forget? So obviously for me, that time up on the hill, but
bypass that and go to the next.
I'll bypass that. I was sitting on the deck at the clubhouse at Augusta National, smoking a cigar, looking over the golf course.
Wow.
After a day of playing golf at Augusta National,
Wow.
I got to play there 3 rounds. But
Oh,
that
nice.
night it was perfect. Sun was going down. This fleet of
Tell
about
us yours,
15
Josh.
mowers go out to go cut
Oh.
the grass, and I'm sitting after having this great
Smelling
meal
the grass.
and just sitting up there smoking a cigar, going, "Yeah, gotta be kidding."
And you've got to have some respect for those mowers too, because those are
Yeah.
the best. It's weird, but those are the best mowers, right?
Yeah.
Those guys are talented. There has to be an energy about
It's
that.
the most perfect landscaped
Anything.
piece of property I've ever seen. Not one blade of grass is taller than the other. It is unbelievable.
Man, that is a tough question, Josh Sims.
Yeah.
What has been yours?
I'm gonna have to say, after I just trashed Aruba a minute ago, I'm gonna have to say my honeymoon in Aruba with my wife when I outkicked my coverage. Like smoking my first like legit Cuban in Aruba on my honeymoon. Like I mean I'll never forget that. I don't think I've been smoking cigars long enough to have like traveled. I mean obviously COVID and everything else has wrecked that. This is our first vacation in 5 years, so. I'll have to. I would say like I can say
you should go
what's
down
that?
there. It's called Mona Lisa.
Okay.
It's in Cabo. You'll have to drive a little bit to it.
Yeah.
But there's a sunset that it's unbelievable. You can smoke a cigar outside. That will go on your list. I promise you. I promise you.
I loaded up my box. I even got me one of the new life pods so that hopefully TSA won't destroy my stuff.
Just be careful with your lighter.
Yeah, I'm not taking a lighter.
take a lighter.
I'll buy a cheap torch.
Take
when
a
I'm
big.
there.
Take a
Yeah.
big.
Take a big.
Magic.
Big
Well, my wife smokes cigarettes, so I'll roll with that
Vic.
if I have to.
No, Vic is good. What I realized when I lived in Cabo for a little bit was the best way to go with TSA. We started bringing a lot of things into the country.
Yeah.
Projectors and all this stuff. And when they started, when you hit the red button, when you hit the button and it goes red, you can actually beat TSA by moving as slow as you can. It's going to be painful, but if you move as slow as you can, they'll let you just leave. So if you just put the bag up as slow as you possibly can, and then unzip it, they'll get through one bag. You can bring whatever you want in that country. Because we were bringing illegal stuff into that country. I mean, not like drugs and shit, but
So like, fuck it, this dude's slow. Go.
yes, like as slow as you can, they will let you leave. I promise you, it works.
So go full retard on them.
Go full retard. Go.
Yeah. All right,
Yes,
all right,
it works with the Mexican TSA. I promise you, it works every time.
What's your most memorable, scenic, favorite dinner you've ever had in a different location?
Probably Flora Farms. Flora Farms in San Jose de Cabo. The way that you go up and over and you go into this kind of this little canyon, this valley.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by the mountains of Cabo, which people may not think that they're mountains quite a bit.
Yeah.
The way that the light comes in up over the top creates this natural, there's this dust from the desert.
Yeah.
You can see all the rays of sunshine, and it's right up over your head. But then they have this little pond that sits there, these nice little lights that sit over. It is serene. It's beautiful. You still get the freshness of the Sea of Cortez that comes over, so it's fresh. That's probably the most scenic I've had. What about you guys?
I mean, I've had dinner at Scott's compound out in Cabo, and looking over the Sea of Cortez is incredible. But I think still one of the best meals I've had, and it's in a cool place, was at the Wynn in Las Vegas, sitting by you're sitting around this man-made pond, and they're bringing out the most
When they used to have the
food.
waterfall.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they remodeled all that.
Yeah.
Kind of trash.
But this restaurant was unreal, and the experience was just on another level.
You've been there a couple times. I was there with you
Several.
once.
Oh, is that incredible?
Maybe after the 6th or 7th bottle of wine. That
We took 3
yeah.
You guys had 9 bottles that night. 4 guys drinking.
After the 4th.
3 or 4 guys. Yeah, 4 guys.
Yeah.
It got to a point where I had an idea of what the dinner would cost, but I had to figure out: am I going to throw this up in the pond and be disrespectful, or am I going to just go quiet and choke this down for a while? I choked it down.
Yeah.
That was
Food
After
was
the 3rd time of getting the black truffles, shaved off,
Oh man.
salt crusted fish.
What's yours, Garrett?
Mine's Montenegro. Montenegro I had no idea what to expect. I didn't even know, obviously earlier, I didn't even know where Montenegro was. Like, my in-laws planned this whole trip, and we went along for the ride. And we ended up, my wife and I had said we wanted a night where we got away from all the family, just had a dinner to ourselves.
Whoa,
and Montenegro has these beautiful mountains that come, it's straight mountain, road, houses, beach, and water.
Gorgeous.
That is beautiful.
They had this hotel that had this pier that went out into the ocean, and
Serbia.
It
by
was-
Kosovo's. Oh,
yeah.
it's north of Albania.
North of Albania.
Oh, so okay.
yeah,
So
Adriatic
Italy's on the other
Other
side.
side.
yeah, and so we're
Look
on
at
this
that.
mountainside, right on the bay, like on this ocean front, and we just drank wine and had the most amazing paella and all this other stuff brought to us. It was one of those where my favorite thing to do is just tell the chef if this was my first and last time ever here and I was your family, what would you want to make me? What you make my dinner, you start to finish, just you pick it, go for it. And that's paid huge dividends when I've traveled, because you don't know what you're gonna get, and it's a whole experience, and they'll take you through it. It was amazing. I mean, we had a little incident because the whole country shut down at a certain time, and the internet and everything went off. So it was almost impossible. My father-in-law had to come. I had to get cash and their cash to pay them, and it was insane. But it is definitely the most beautiful place I've had a dinner at.
Lugano is pretty as well. You should go to Lugano.
Lugano would be awesome.
Lugano. What about you, Adrian?
Going back, I think we started this conversation with your favorite place to have a cigar, right? Instead of dinner. I've been smoking cigars for 30 years, and that's a long time. And again, I'm not an international traveler, and I've been to some pretty nice places to smoke a cigar, but almost coming up on 5 years ago, it was sitting with this dude, and we connected through Instagram, thanks to my wife, and we had a meeting. We sat down in the private lounge, and we just sat and talked. We smoked cigars for we talked for 3 hours. We talked about your life with your dad, stuff with my life and my dad, and here we are almost 5 years later.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
it's a great relationship. and
You
I'm
discount
happy
it
here.
because we see it every day.
Oh yeah,
Right?
for sure.
You discount the value of the lounge.
Yeah, but I mean, when else do you get, time with your fixed family for 3 fucking hours?
Yeah.
And have a cigar, multiple cigars, I'm sure we have.
That's where the whole lounge is, though. That's
Yeah.
what I love about this place. I mean, even when I was in Gin Pop, as Ty likes to call it. Sorry, Ty, I had
What
to
does
put
he
that
call
out there.
it?
Gin
Gin
Pop.
Pop.
Gin pop.
General population. That's
He calls it Gin Pop. And it's even out in the public lounge, it's just, I made so many friends, and you sit and have these conversations, and they're real, and everybody has respect for everybody, and then you kind of just evolve into the family, man, and it truly is a family place. I absolutely love it.
It's incredible. It's incredible what's happening here.
And everybody has some amazing story or life experience that you get to share, and it just naturally comes out here. There's not many places you go that that stuff just naturally comes out in casual conversation. Conversation is so boring half the time everywhere else, but I truly love being up here and the conversations that evolve and the friendships and everything else. It's absolutely amazing.
That's a really good point, and I've seen that over the past couple times that I've smoked a cigar here. Is the conversations we get into. It's we talked about real life stuff,
Yeah.
right? Real world, here's been my challenges in life, here's what I learned from them, here's what I'm not going to do again. Very valuable conversations. Then you pepper in some kind of bullshit, locker room talk, but you don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, no.
Well,
There's everything
I-
from top to bottom. You get the shenanigans, you get the locker room talk, but you get a lot of really real talk. real conversations, real connections. It's awesome.
Oh, it's incredible. It's life we live. You know, it's if you let it be, it's gonna be all right. You know, it really is a cool thing with all the nonsense that occurs on a day-to-day perspective. You hop onto a social media feed, you're pissed off by the time you get done with it. But then you can come into a place like this, and then you leave. There's a certain ring that
It goes away.
Yeah, it goes away.
It goes away,
That's a good way to
and
put
something else comes in its place.
And maybe you leave and just go, okay.
Yeah.
But you leave better than you entered.
Yeah.
It's a really, really.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all have created that, but it's absolutely amazing.
Because the guys like you, of Adrian, it's the people.
Yeah.
And having to make the difficult decisions of, you know, many places can put up a good looking place, but being prepared to fire your top spenders and create a culture, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but it's man.
We've always opened under one simple principle, which is everybody's important, but now one person is more important than the enjoyment of all.
Yeah.
So if you do get that rock in your shoe, sometimes you have to shake it out, and we've had to do that, but everybody has a better time because of it.
Yeah.
So,
and even those difficult situations, you look at, we've had people who spend close to $100,000 a year that we've had to say, this isn't for you, this isn't for us, we appreciate it, but we're going to move a different direction. That's a difficult situation.
That's a really tough conversation.
Right? I mean, that is a marked difference.
However, when you have that person come back in and buy a box of irons and who's been fired,
yeah, they don't stop buying the cigars, and
I mean,
that works out good too. But
you're right, but at the end, it's something that you have to create for the culture.
yeah, no,
And so
totally.
that's
hopefully
the passion over profit.
Exactly, and hopefully no one sees the rocks in the shoes, or at least sees that the rocks are out.
Well, shit, now I want to have a cigar with Brandon.
Yeah.
Me
Come
too.
on.
I want to have one with Brandon and Pops and Adrian in some exotic place.
Like right here.
So
Yeah.
JD's never been here?
JD,
I
have you
believe he
been?
has. Yeah, he's up in Paris.
Yeah, that's like an hour and a half away. JD, it's like Salina is halfway here. Go to Salina. We'll hang out in my patio, and then we'll come here.
No, I'd love to have a cigar with JD Morris.
Yeah.
I'd love to. This is,
JD, you have an open invitation, please.
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's
I think he's involved with Gary Flynn and the guys up in Paris that are opening Rigby's, and
Rigby's.
that was a
a
great
good
opportunity for somebody that was going to get into the space. They came
Yeah.
and spent some time down here. We spent time with them, sharing whatever we could share with them that would help them, and
We've done that
we're
multiple times.
multiple times. But
And all those shops are,
yeah, it was
great.
humbling to hear 6 shops had opened because they watched what we're doing,
Yep.
and that motivated them to start a business,
Yep.
which is great. And then now they're in it, and they're finding out it's not as easy as it looks.
well,
Yeah.
and I appreciate, I'll name Capital for one, because they still give props to you. Right. I haven't seen others, necessarily give the recommendations that, that y'all gave them, but Capital for one in, is it Omaha?
No, he's in Lincoln.
Nebraska, right?
Yeah, in fact, he'll be here tomorrow.
Nice.
Who?
Tony.
Tony will be here
Yeah.
tomorrow? Oh, shit.
Yeah, so Tony and Austin
great.
and
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Paul Webster is going to come back down. So
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Because you're relatively new
Yeah.
to the Attaway Private Lounge.
Yeah.
You've been smoking cigars for going on 3 years. Adrian, this goes out to you. If this is your business, what would you change?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
It is tough.
It's a real.
That's a real tough question. I don't know, cause I had this conversation with Andrew the other day when we were golfing together, and it's tough because I had a different perception of what it meant or what it would be to be in the back and in the private lounge, and I thought I would still spend equal amount of time in the public lounge, and I always said I would, and I'm probably guilty of not doing that as much. But there's always certain things you want to like get away from out there. Like there's just conversations like when you see what's the family that is the private lounge, and you have those conversations, it kind of lessens the conversations in the public lounge to a certain degree. And I mean, obviously there's people that you wish there was enough space where in the private lounge, and you understand that, but I mean, like, then you hear all these different things and like OGs and this and that of the private lounge, and you hear some complaints, but like, it's also business. Like, I think one of the number one things I've heard was like, so when there is private events, like, why? Because we are in the private lounge, why are we not just automatically, now I gotta fight for my seat in the private lounge and stuff. And it is more money to be in the private lounge, but I kind of look at it from a business standpoint too, like, cool, I don't want the private lounge monthly membership to be $1,500 a month so that I just get carte blanche with all these events. The events are extra, like, is that really why you are here, is just for the events? I don't think so when it really comes down to it. So is it just that's something to complain about? Like, or do you really truly want that, or like do you think that like that should automatically get you like a lesser price on a VIP ticket or something like that? Sure. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe, you know, like to where you're still getting the money, but like if you're a member back here, then maybe like that. But I think you guys offer that, so like I don't even really understand that whole concept, because like it's still very affordable to be a private member if you're so lucky to have gotten selected to do that. Yeah. And I'm not like downgrading the public lounge either. Like that's awesome. That was like my home for a year and a half, 2 years. You know, like. And there's great people in the public lounge. Like I'm not knocking that either. So it's like. It's kind of a weird feeling where you get caught up in it, because like there's still, and I still go out there, but like it's just different. Yeah. I don't even really know how to explain that. Like I keep trying to, because you guys all of the frakes keep asking me this question, and like I wish I had a really great answer.
But we want to improve. Like
yeah, I mean I know you do, but you've created something that is really truly so great, and I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here with you on a podcast. But it really is like I've made more quality friends in the time I've been up here than I can say about a lot of things in life. I mean, it reminds me of the conversation I had with my dad when you're in high school and you think you have all these like great friends, and your dad tells you you'll be lucky when you get to my age and you can count your true friends on one hand. And I'm like, I got all these friends. What are you talking about? No, and every year you learn, and friend groups change, and as you get older, the dynamics change. People have different life experiences, so that changes. But back here and at this lounge, like, man, I feel like I have met some of the most quality, true, good human beings from all walks of life. People that I may or may not have, like, you know, had the opportunity to meet, or that I would have like associated with just out the gate, or had something like a cigar to share in common to start a conversation. That just happens organically here. So you guys have done such a good job of like making this stuff happen organically. Like I don't have a good answer for that, like at all. I really truly don't.
Adrian, what's yours? So again, 30 years smoking. I've been at a few lounges. I spent 20 years in San Antonio. They have cigar lounges out there, but nothing compared to what y'all do. Right. So to me, I have no complaints. Everything that you do is like extra to me, and I appreciate it and enjoy it. And I'm sure it's like every ICC member out here does. If you're not an ICC member or never been here, you need to come here and appreciate that.
Come be a part of it. It's really, really, truly cool. I mean, I was in a family where we moved every 3 years, so growing up, you were making new friends every 3 years. So like, that's something I've always thought I was pretty good at. But like finding quality at this day and age, like quality friendships and quality conversations to be a part of, that just happens organically here. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
That's good.
I think the feedback here is just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep pushing.
Yeah.
We'll keep pushing. We've got,
Please don't kill Derby Day. Please don't kill Derby Day. That was so much fun.
Wait till you go to Halloween.
No, I know.
Have you
I
been
know,
to Halloween?
but- No, I have not been to Halloween yet.
oh, that's
but
if we're gonna do
shit.
one event. If we do one event all year, it's Halloween.
I will try to
Halloween.
fly back early enough to be here for Halloween.
No.
If you like Derby, then you'll love
Halloween is better. Halloween,
Yes.
if Dirt on 1 to 10, Derby's a 6, Halloween's a 9.
I'm gonna say like let's just not make Derby so
Derby's a
inclusive.
0.
Like,
Halloween's a 10.
Halloween is the event.
I can imagine with all the characters up here, like
Oh my god,
Dude.
it's so much
Yeah,
fun.
in character.
yeah,
I mean,
in
it's-
character or being another character, which is kind of
Oh,
mind-boggling.
we had
too.
broads. I think that one broad had her. I think she was painted on.
Was that a Crux affiliated?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it was painted on.
Yeah.
I can hear my wife's comments already.
Sam.
Good for you. You're invited back. That's why
Yes.
Crux has a. Crux is the sponsor for the history of our company. Thanks, man. They will always be the sponsor here. No, it's.
Yeah.
I have a question for cigar newbies. So does it depend on if you're using a jet fuel or should it be a soft flame?
All right. So let's take this rounded out
Yeah.
off the top and let's finish with some cigar knowledge here. Torch versus soft flame versus match versus Bic versus cedar,
Or Zippo?
or never a Zippo
Why that?
because the fuel is super dirty.
Yeah.
Never use a Zippo.
So Zippo and Bic, same thing.
Disagree.
In my opinion.
When you're traveling though, and you have no
Bic.
choice.
Bic.
I'd go
I
Bic.
still
I'd
in my
go
car I
Bic.
have a Bic.
So what's the feeling in the Bic though?
Butane, regular butane,
What's in the Zippo then?
kerosene. Actually, I don't know. I'm full of shit, but
But it smells like kerosene.
it
It
Burns
does
like
have that
kerosene.
smell.
Yeah.
Let's figure out.
I
what
have a
it is.
Zippo that I did the little interchange thing and
Yeah, if you go old school
Oh,
original
exchange.
Zippos.
I know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying. You can
Yeah.
do that. You can buy that conversion kit.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can do that. I'll figure out what's in Zippo fuel. For me, I really don't have a preference. If I'm outside, I'm gonna use a torch.
Yeah.
If
Torch
yeah.
just makes it easy. It doesn't
torch
matter
makes
where
it
you're at.
easy, but I'll use a Zippo no problem. Torch is the easiest way to go.
Zippo just says lighter fuel.
And then in Spanish.
Made in Vietnam will blow up anything.
Have you been to Hackfest?
Yes, Hackfish was a lot of fun. Little weird putting with what I thought was Brandon's leg. That was really weird.
That
It
was,
was- it
that was
was
his
his leg.
old leg.
And then the turds all over the one green.
Yep.
Very weird.
Is that
But
where-
it was
Those
a
were
ton
baby
of fun.
Ruths.
But we first met? Is that where we first met?
Yeah, that's where we first
Uh,
met. Cause yeah, you had the
we did
you had
the
the
golf
awesome
ball.
badass gun
cannon.
ball launcher.
So to answer Brad's question,
Yeah.
torch, I prefer a single beam because every once in a while, like this one, I would need to touch this up a little bit to keep that edge burnt right. But you can toast
Oh,
the
these
foot
are awesome.
better.
Ooh.
He's also got like the katana
So this,
blade over there to
this
cut
I
his
would just,
cigar.
I just need to touch up that little edge right there.
I always use a single beam.
Yep, I'm
I
a
love
huge
the
fan of single beam.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that like $30 long
awesome.
lighter that you guys sell
pen-
here.
that little
That
pencil?
thing can be thrown off a building. It can be dropped in water. It can be whatever, and that damn lighter still lights.
And
And
it-
it refills.
And it
super
holds like
easy.
it holds like you're lighting with a cigar.
Yeah, and,
I mean,
and you
it's
can
awesome.
light several cigars on one charge. It's not like some of these that $200-300 Calibris and stuff that you literally can light one cigar and you're refilling the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like that really annoys me.
Now cedar is a nice treat. If you get a
Yeah.
nice cedar strip, now some people get confused. They take a strip that's so big, and they'll light that cedar. But the best thing to do is to snap that in half so it makes a V, and light that. And then once that flame gets up there, just hold that cigar and just pull and light that. But then
Long,
let it
slow draws. gross.
then drop it in the ashtray, and then the room just smells with that burnt cedar
Oh,
smell.
I'm gonna have to learn
it's-
this trick. I
that's-
don't
that's
know this
ultimate.
trick.
Yeah,
Do that.
I wish I had
See,
like
I don't
cedar.
know how. I don't know that trick.
And in
Indoors,
theory, you're pulling
yeah.
that pulling that cedar aroma into the cigar. So there's that theory. Soft flame. Some people like soft flame. I have a tendency to puff when I'm using a soft flame,
Yeah.
and I blow it out. So there's one lighter that DuPont just came out with that is a soft flame,
Yeah.
but windproof. So you can literally blow on it and it doesn't go out.
And I think
so
it's only about
that's-
$1,000.
No, that
Oh.
one's not. That's only about 400.
I mean,
Really?
this guy's
That's
got
what-
$1,000 cutters that like ninja stars and stuff in here. It's insane.
They
Like,
have
up
one
my
that's,
game.
They have one that's made out of shark fin.
I'm sure, and KO probably has it because I've never seen somebody accessorize a golf cart
KO
once.
does not have
in
it.
KO in
He's
my
an
life.
accessory.
Rio does not have this. Me and JP are doing a little concept.
The OGs of the. Alright, alright.
I'm a huge, from a cutter standpoint, a huge fan of this new LE Blue that has the two V-shaped cutters that come in and cut that thing from the side first. It is freaking awesome.
So are you supposed to clean like some of your cutters? Like is there a lubricating them or whatever? Like keeping them sharp?
You probably don't want to if you don't want to get oil on it and then get that oil.
What
on the
about
cigar.
sharpening them? Like
Do
they dull out at a certain time,
The
or-
German or with the French one, you can hit that with the steel if you want to hit that.
This
What-
one's self-sharpening. This is. Before,
You've had that since before we
before,
opened.
yeah, 6,
that's
7
like
years.
Godfather cutter. Like you could lose a finger.
You
really
could lose a
easy.
finger on
I
that.
could. I've never cut myself unless.
No, I've whacked the shit out of my finger with that with
I
the
almost
blade.
passed out.
But I love that. I love the
I would for sure
Yeah.
pass out. I am that guy.
Me too.
Show me something.
Oh.
And it's you telling me the story. It's not seeing it. If I'm here for it, I'm all right. I'm probably gonna laugh out
Saturday
of
at the
like.
shop, we were here. Pops is cutting it, cuts his fucking almost finger off. This is almost passed out. He's
Yeah,
got-
all I did was have my
I
hand out.
know.
And go, JP, fix it. And JP's fixing
No,
it
buyers.
or Byers is fixing
Yeah,
it
yeah.
off screen. But I was having an upper respiratory deal, and I took some medication, so I had zero sleep. It bumped me up so much
Like
that
3 days.
I had
no sleep.
zero sleep. And I came in and I was just like punch drunk because I had been awake for
Is that
like
where the
24
walk came
hours.
from?
No, the Sasquatch. That's a Sasquatch
Tribute.
encouraged tribute
All right,
walk,
all right.
and the
Sasquatch was behind that.
Sasquatchs are getting better, and this week's is going to be awesome because Begley is in. So
She's in.
yeah, and we got the prop. We bought the prop.
I got in on my punching boards.
Oh, so we can do that next week.
Next week, yeah, the following. Okay,
So
the
I have
next
a question for you guys.
The next one will be awesome.
I think this will be good for cigar newbies. So you guys asked me the stuff about bourbon. What's the equivalent of a craft distiller, kind of maybe off-label, like your favorite cigar that is not a big name?
I'm smoking it right now.
Principal.
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 KBF is Kellner Boutique Factory. They may have the most tobacco in the Dominican, but it's all small batches of really high-end tobacco. Really high-end stuff.
That's awesome.
So
That's my
they
favorite.
can get
Yeah,
access.
Principal.
They
Yeah.
can get access to some of these tobaccos, but then this cigar has changed in its ultimate blend because they'll exhaust the wrapper that they may have used on it.
Yeah.
So then it never goes backwards. And the other thing too that I appreciate about this versus a lot of blenders is Darren blends to the size. So it's not one of these, two of these, and one of those, and you just do it in the Robusto and the Toro and the Gordo. This, they blend to the specific size of the cigar. So every blend may be different, but it's all falls underneath this Aviator umbrella. But
Okay.
that factory is the ultimate in just
What about you?
gems everywhere.
What about you, Adrian?
I mean, there's so many cigars here, but I'm smoking the cigar German engineered.
Oh,
Yeah.
To my fingers burn.
See, my only thing I did not like about the German engineered cigars was I hate having to relight a cigar constantly.
That's our fault.
And
Yeah.
I
We had
that's
the
the
cigar
only
thing
that's the only experience I've ever had with that happening consistently. I need to go
Yeah.
back to it, but I also watched Chris died trying to like outsmoke Elliot on the like
Crux, yes.
that long German cigar. Like
that's our fault. We put that cigar out too early. We were too excited. That's actually my fault.
That cigar,
I don't know.
that
those
cigar was
things.
a little wet.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was my fault.
And what do you guys? I have one more. What is your guys' like? What do you guys think like between your like acrylics and stuff like that? What is the ideal like humidity you should be keeping your cigars at, like smoking? And whether you're going to be smoking those outdoors or indoors, because a lot of us play golf and smoke.
Yeah.
Some of us just smoke on the patio, like, or versus what you have in the lounge. Like, I mean, I know what's in my locker is pretty set.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the other issues, but sometimes taking them out of an acrylic to go play golf or something and throwing them in something.
We've been testing this, and I have cigars in my truck to continuously test how long outside of a humidor can it last.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks is where it can last. But to me, I don't really give a shit. To be honest, if it's in that 62 to 72, it's going to smoke fine.
Okay,
If you're
so
taking
outside of that is what you don't want.
So
Like, anywhere in there, you're okay.
anywhere in there. That's
My humidor at the house is 63.7%, and it's typically about 70 in that room. So 63% is what I keep it at, because it only takes 15 to 20 minutes for the cigar to acclimate to the outside. So so the cigars at the house, I smoke outside. So you go outside and it's 85 degrees and 70% humidity. The cigar is going to acclimate to that quickly. When you're out on the golf course, it's going to acclimate. So I'd rather have a cigar that's drier, that is going to come up to that level, rather than having a cigar that's too wet, 70, 72, and then it's going to get wetter. And when it gets wet, that's when you have the lighting issues, the drawing issues, the charcoaling, and
So
all
then
the
why
things
do they
that...
sell all these higher end Bovita packs and stuff that keep
I
you
see.
up there in the 60,
Because of
high
shitty
60s,
humidors.
70s?
Shitty humidors. Yeah.
If
You
you're
get
bleeding humidity, you have to compensate.
Yeah.
So 72, I use 72 in my humidor. I have acrylics at the house, but
Think about what you would, if you had all your windows open in your house, how much lower you'd have to set your air conditioner just to keep it cool.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. These humidors leak. These guys get this cheap shit that Cigar Bid or CI will include with the purchase of 40 cigars for $40. And those humidors, they leak like crazy. People don't season their humidors. You got to soak them with distilled water. There's a lot of things that have to be done in order to get those humidors right. Once you get them right, like I just did, I'm doing a test, an analytical test, and
is that your humidor?
Yeah, I'm
You
just
have the
pulling up
Govee?
my acrylics. Yeah, the Govee. So
Govee?
like one of them sits at 66.6.
Oh, perfect.
The other's at 70.7 though.
You're fine.
You're all right.
Yeah, so
Smoke.
but they sit side by side. Like, why are they so different?
Both acrylic.
Yeah, the two that I've
Is
got.
one's on top of the other?
Nope, they're side by side, flat on the bar.
how many cigars in each?
They're full.
Okay.
Both of them are absolutely full.
You might have some cigars that are wetter in there, that are creating more humidity into the cabinet.
Different tobacco types.
But yeah, some
So
some
should
will
you be
sponge.
separating them more?
no, smoke.
You're in a good range.
Okay.
But I used the Govies. I did a Govee. I had two Bandolero boxes identical. I put an Integra Boost pack in one, and I put the gel beads. You know, these guys that buy these gel beads, put those in the other. And after 30 days, there's no cigars in there. But after 30 days, my 60 or 70 pack, 70%, it sits at 70. The other one's down to like 59. So unless you're constantly reloading and reloading and reloading, filling that with distilled water, it's an issue. But I know a lot of people shoot for 70. The simple fact of the matter is, and we're going to actually do a whole show that we're going to have Aaron Klaus in here talking about relative humidity, because there's a difference between humidity and relative humidity, and outside temperature really impacts the box as well. So we want to try to make this complex thing easy, but people I think are probably surprised that I'm running below 64%. But at below 64, I go sit outside 20 minutes into the cigar, it's still burning perfect. It's getting a little bit more humidity in it.
Yeah.
Golf course, things like that.
See him already open.
Where do you keep your cigars in your truck?
In the holder.
In a plastic?
No, I just leave it open. I leave it wide open.
So Rovers, in the center console, we have a little fridge. And you don't have to turn it on. The fridge.
Not everybody has Rovers with the fridge and the console.
Some people have fucking ridge lines.
If you have a ridge line, whatever, but I was thinking about, like,
Put them in.
cedar lining that.
Fuck the single line. Just
Yeah,
put
you
it in
need
there.
there.
Put them in
You
there.
don't need
Now,
to
keep
think
in
about
mind,
that,
if
yeah.
it's refrigerated, relative
Then
humidity shows.
the refrigeration I can turn off.
Oh, turn it off
So
because
just
the
throw 'em in
lower the
there.
temperature, the less humidity the air can hold.
I'm gonna throw Gobi in there,
Yeah.
and then just kind
Put
of
it in
See
there.
what-
I mean,
see
honestly,
what it registers.
2 weeks, especially for something that you're gonna smoke in the truck,
yeah.
you don't need a perfect performing cigar. I just want a cigar that I can just fire it up. If I hit traffic, cool.
I just don't want it
cigar
blowing out on the end.
No,
That
you're gonna get the
sucks.
blowout from
Yeah.
over humidified, not under humidified.
Okay.
Because that humidity on the inside, as you're
What's
70
expanding
juice.
it?
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
When I do that at the beginning of the week, I know what I'm gonna smoke. I put it in here. No humidification. I'll take it out of the whatever I have. And I got all of them. I got the acrylic. I have the fucking wood. I have the what's the little fridge thing.
Yeah.
And I'll take them out and put them in here. No humidification. And just smoke them.
Leave 'em.
Yeah.
You know what works insanely well for aging are those ceramic jars that Byron has.
Yep.
I've got the Playboys by Don Diego in there and a few cigars. If you want to flash age some cigars, the ceramic that has completely airtight, holy shit.
I just have one just for looks.
Oh,
I
no,
cigars.
use it.
All right,
Use
I gotta up my game on this then.
Yeah, you gotta know.
Now the other thing, I mean, a lot of guys
Alright.
will use these Yeti coolers. They'll do stuff that's airtight, Tupperware, things like that. You still have to open that up about once a month and just get some air moving in there, because otherwise you stand a chance for mold to form because air has to
Okay.
move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a tip of the day right there. We can end it on that.
Let's close up.
Yeah.
No, Josh, it's 2008. He's dogging my Rover.
He's
a Rover
bougie
guy.
as shit.
He's a Rover guy too. My shit's a 2008 fucking. What are we?
He's got custom
Almost
plates
20
on it.
years old. Put custom
Almost
plates on
20,
anything.
almost 20 years old. How many miles are on yours?
180.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm a 2017 and I've got 130 on it.
I've got
That's
a 2008 and it's got 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
thing
well,
goes off-road.
you don't drive yours because you're a pussy.
This
Yeah.
thing goes off road. It goes in hills and dirt and mud and all sorts of shit. And it's my daily driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Adrian, take us out.
Yeah. Hey, next Tuesday, 8-ish p.m. Cigar Talk.
Plus Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Saturday at the shop.
I won't be here.
We will
He's
be
gonna
here. He won't
yeah.
be here, but we will be here.
Peace!